Good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. And my guest this morning, he has come from a long way away, and that's just as well because we don't often get to hear close quarters news about Borno State. But all of that is changing this morning. My guest is Dr. Mohammed Bulama, who is the Commissioner for Home Affairs, Information and Culture of Borno State. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Well, how is Borno? We got to ask. We see any person of authority from Borno, we got to ask, how is it coming? I mean, what is life like in Borno?
Thank you very much. I think that's a very pertinent question. Like you said, most Nigerians don't have the opportunity to be there, so they get all sorts of wrong impressions about what's going on.
And what we hear about Borno is usually
exactly.
war,
yes.
trouble.
That's
why I said, how is Borno for the ordinary person?
Yeah, the challenges are there, but I want to assure you that we have made a lot of progress. In the last 8 years, especially in the last 4 years, the security situation has improved tremendously. And Maiduguri, the state capital, and many towns and cities in the state are just like any Nigerian towns and cities. Oh, just like Lagos,
really?
just like Abuja.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because the impression one gets with reports that one is seeing, for instance, the Amnesty International report, which was denied by the army, that, look, 60 civilians, no less, were killed. We're talking about what? Recently, around January 28th or so. The army put a lie to it. They said they don't know what they were up to, but there is no evidence of any such thing. So when non-Borno residents or indigenes are hearing that, you wonder what kind of a city, what's going on in that city. First of all, give me your comments on that whole matter about alleged killings of 60 civilians in Rand.
Yes, Rand is the headquarters of Kala Belge local government area, along the border with Cameroon.
Yes.
And indeed we're having challenges there. There is no question about it. The local government is firmly in the hands of the Nigerian military and the armed forces. Yes, and people do live and work out of that place. Yes, there was an incident a couple of days back. A group of terrorists, tried to attack the town. They were successfully repelled by the military. Yes, and we believe them when they told us that the casualty is not anywhere as bad as it's been painted by some of these organizations. There could have been 1 or 2 casualties, but we're not denying that. But nothing near what it's clearly exaggerated.
Because the army in its statement has said, wait a minute, we've been there, we swept the area, the civilians were part of it, and they never reported the figures we're hearing. Neither did the Joint Task Force report those kind of figures. That then becomes worrying that Amnesty International, what's going on here? One doesn't want to dismiss out of hand such a global organization, but it is worrying that these figures are coming up and that the army is having to, deny them.
You see, coming from an activist background myself, I do understand the kind of work that organizations like Amnesty International do. But in this situation, I think that they are overreaching themselves. They are not portraying the situation, given the circumstances in which we found ourselves in Borno State. I think Amnesty International and many other organizations that do this kind of job, there's this tendency, propensity for unnecessary exaggerations.
Sensationalism.
Yes, and sensationalism, So that's how I put it, Like I said at the beginning, we do still have challenges.
Yes.
But coming from where we're coming, 2012, 2015, and so on and so forth, I think we've made a lot of progress. And
Boko Haram, because unfortunately you talk about Borno, invariably it's going to come up.
Yes.
But Boko Haram doesn't have any territory in Borno. Is that a factual statement now?
Certainly not. Certainly it's a very factual statement. Boko Haram is not in control of any local government area. We do have 1 or 2 local governments that are not that too accessible. We have always said that, and we have named them all the time, Marte and Abadam, and to some extent even Kala Belge, you know.
Yes.
But that is not because Boko Haram is in control. The roads are not too safe some of the time when you venture into those places. Other than that, no local government is being controlled by Boko Haram. Remember, some 5 years ago, all the local governments were locked down, 17 of them to be precise, you know, virtually all of them under the firm control of Boko Haram, where they had hoisted their flags and so on and so forth. And in 2015, and that is very important, virtually everybody in Borno State, especially in northern and central Borno, voted in Maiduguri. Because everybody was living in Maiduguri. The local governments were absolutely inaccessible. They couldn't, but now elections are going to take place in virtually all these local governments, except the two that I mentioned. In fact, out of the three, it's only Abadam and Marte where elections are not likely to hold in those towns, in the headquarters of the local government. In all other local governments, and we have 27 local government areas in Borno State, elections are going to be holding. So that is a clear indication that a lot of progress has been made, and people have returned home. You know, so yeah, that's a clear indication that of the level of progress.
Indeed, and that we're returning to a state of normalcy.
Indeed.
But tell me something, Dr. Bulamba. I was surprised to get in the news that Boko Haram, ostensibly, how does one put it? They have returned cattle that they rustled earlier from people. What's that all about? Voluntarily returning cattle, so the news report said, to people that they had. Is Boko Haram on a PR mission? And how is that kind of a gesture received? And first of all, is it true?
Well, first of all, it's very, very difficult to even verify that, quite honestly.
Okay.
You know,
because the army said that they deceptively or
yes,
showing that.
But the fact of the matter, especially in northern Borno, where not the Shekau faction now, the other faction led by the son of late Mohammed Yusuf, the founder of Boko Haram, and supported by Mama Nur, you know.
Who is Mama Nur?
Mama Nur is one of the leading ideologues, so to say, of Boko Haram.
Okay.
And I think he's been indicted as the person who led the attack on the UN headquarters in Abuja some years back. So I think they're just playing politics with the situation. You know, like you said, they're trying to come back to buy the hearts and minds of the people. You know, they see now that the military is really up to its game, and they're under a lot of pressure, you know. So what they do, because in guerrilla warfare, which is what they're doing, you know, the knowledge for those who are on the other side, the knowledge of the terrain and the support of the population are two valuable things that always covet. They always covet those two things, and they have lost that completely. You know, so what they now hold on to is the knowledge of the terrain, which invariably you cannot take away from them. Then the other important ingredient is to continue to get the support of some elements in society. The military is up to its game. They have pushed them to the wall, and they've been able to fish out a lot of the collaborators, people who have collaborated with Boko Haram, people who supply them fuel, who supply them all the logistic needs and so on and so forth, and they are losing out. So this is a desperate attempt, actually, to win back the hearts and minds of some of the people.
Indeed, and I find this very, very intriguing, Dr. Bulama, that maybe my question is, doesn't all of Borno see Boko Haram as the enemy? And why would Boko Haram feel that it can woo the people it is waging war against to, how does one express it, be on their side? That's the part that I must confess, not being from those parts, I just can't fathom. Why, how can Boko Haram be wooing anybody? Doesn't everybody in Borno, apart from the saboteurs that you've itemized, and those ones are saboteurs, they're part of the enemy. Why do they think that they could woo the populace?
See, earlier, like I told you, this is a guerrilla warfare. It's a very unconventional type of warfare. And more often than not, people who wage this kind of warfare against the state are locals. You know, people who have lived.
They have been indoctrinated.
So they always try to indoctrinate some people. So it's not possible that 100% of the people of Borno, you know, will be absolutely loyal to state authority, to the government, and to what Nigeria stands.
Okay.
Invariably, you will find a few who have been so indoctrinated, who have been so brainwashed, you know, that they will always, you know, more so in areas where the presence of Boko Haram has been long-standing, you know, in those areas where they mingle with them. So invariably they end up, you know, but I want to assure you that 98%, you know, percent or 99% of the people of Borno are very firmly loyal to Nigeria, patriotic, and they support what the government and the armed forces are doing. You know, so these 2% or less, you know, elements, who are saboteuring our efforts, you know, will always be there. But I assure you that the
matter is very much in control.
Yes, the armed forces and the Nigerian state, both at the federal and state level, are firmly in control, and we are dealing with the situation as best as we could. Okay.
Well, as I said, I don't want all of this. I don't want this to all be of Boko Haram and warfare.
I understand.
Even though it's something that is staring us in the face, but there is life going on in Borno. That's the important thing. You talked about Maiduguri, the state capital, and we'll return to it if need be, especially when the time comes from calls. People might go there. But let's look at some of the advances in Borno State. Governor Kashim Shettima signed in the budget into law 144.74 billion naira budget.
Right, yes.
And interestingly, the Assembly actually upped it to 144 billion. That is by increasing it by 25% because of what it referred to as, I think you have a program called Triple R's, you know, that kind of a thing. Let's talk about that. Poverty alleviation, land and survey, works, and then the 3 R's that I was talking about. I'm interested to find out what is being done in the area of poverty alleviation in Borno State.
Well, a lot has been done. Let me say, in the last 8 years, there's no question that Boko Haram and the aftermath of the crisis have succeeded in pauperizing our people. You know, there's a lot of poverty there, you know. But for the intervention of the state and the federal government, and I also have to say, very happily, our development partners, you know, things will have been much worse. You know, the government of Borno State, especially in the first 4 years, this government, current government led by Kashim Shettima, in the first 4 years, devoted most of its resources to either fighting the insurgency by supporting the military and the security agency in logistic terms and by creating the civilian JTF, or by assiduously working to support the over 1 million or 2 million displaced people who are located in various camps across the state and even in the other states and in other parts of the country. So most of these resources went to that. Lots of livelihood support have been created, all sorts of trainings, all sorts of start-up monies have been given to them. Of course, by the way, we have a Ministry of Poverty Alleviation and Youth Empowerment.
Okay, exactly.
Yeah, we also have the Ministry of Reconstruction, Rehabilitation, and Resettlement.
That's the 3 R's.
The 3 R's, you know. And between those two and other supporting agencies of government and ministries, we have done a lot. We have done a lot in the area of, like I said, we give them food, you know, food rations every month. But even more importantly, we give them livelihood support, you know, in terms of both money, but in terms of equipment to do their work. And most importantly, we have rebuilt over 30,000 homes. Boko Haram did a very devastating job of taking Borno decades and decades back. And we have, as quickly as possible, tried to recover that by building homes, because having a house is very essential to a human being.
Yes.
So we have resettled, we have rebuilt the homes of these displaced people. First of all, that's the most important thing. And then we have given them support in the area of agriculture.
Okay, because as
yes, agriculture, we have given them all sorts of support, the livestock, we have given them seedlings, we have given them fish, ponds, all sorts that you can think about.
Because people are farmers and
exactly,
cattle
yes.
rearers.
You know, in the last 8 years, I don't think there's any state in Nigeria that has invested in agriculture as much as Borno has done. If you go to Maiduguri and we open up our stores and our farm center to you, you'll be amazed by the infrastructure, agricultural infrastructure that we have imported into Borno State, and we are beginning to use them now. And then we also have about 8 agro-allied industries that we have just established in the state. You know, most of them located in Maiduguri, but we are looking at the chain value, but the value chain of agriculture. All those investments in agricultural equipment, we want to see the end results in those factories. So apart from giving support to individuals, you know, we are also undergoing an institutional mechanism of support by creating these industries and by investing heavily in agricultural equipment and so on and so forth. Because ultimately it's the people, the equipment are government owned, but it's the people that are enjoying it, we are distributing it to them. So across the whole gamut of the poverty index mechanism, we are doing a lot of things.
Okay. Actually, Abubakar phoned in from Borno, but we lost that call. That call dropped. Abubakar, so if you are minded to try again, that would be just fine. The call dropped. There seem to be multiple layers of this work. On the one hand, poverty alleviation. On the other hand, there's the RRR, the triple R. So that again feeds back into that, and there's a whole ministry for it. Now, you talked about agriculture, fisheries, and all that kind of thing. People, what's the bulk of the occupation of the people? It is that very agriculture and cattle rearing, isn't it?
That's right.
Okay.
Fishing
and that kind of a thing. What cattle rearing, especially grazing and that kind of a thing, is that a challenge in Borno? As you know, it became something of a national subject in recent times. What's that conversation like in Borno, and what can be done to sort of allay everybody's fears?
Before I answer that,
sure.
I'd like to quickly say that the good omen for Borno is that the man who ran the Ministry of RRR for 4 years, or nearly 4 years, is the man who is most likely taking over from Governor Kashim Shettima.
He's the APC candidate.
Gubernatorial candidate, Professor Babagana Umara Zulu. You know, so this is a man who has a very clear understanding
of the problem.
He has a clear understanding because there is no nook and cranny of Borno that he has not gone into and worked because of this situation. So I think we're very fortunate.
Okay.
Yeah, coming to...
in the meantime, Emmanuel from Borno State, I think in Maiduguri, has called in. Good morning, Emmanuel.
Good morning, sir.
Okay. Thank you for calling. Do you have a question for the commissioner or a comment?
Maiduguri.
Thank you.
My name is Emmanuel.
Okay.
We thank God that... Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Emmanuel.
We thank God that the situation in Maiduguri is under control now.
Okay. Emmanuel, continue.
Tell the commissioner on the studio there is that they should do more about the state. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you.
They should do more about concerning the men, the officers who are in Maiduguri here, from the civil defense to police to federal fire service and others. They need to be taking care of them.
Okay,
the allowances as a due.
Are you speaking as a civilian yourself?
Family,
are you a civilian yourself? Emmanuel, are you speaking as a civilian or are you a uniformed personnel?
I'm speaking as a paramilitary officer who is in Maiduguri serving now.
Okay. All right, Emmanuel. Thank you very much for calling in. I interrupted so that we could get Emmanuel in. And I imagine you've explained how government is aiding everything that can just lead towards the desired objective. What Emmanuel notes, do you have any comment? Does he think there's some neglect or not enough assistance? Because well, we know in Nigeria, Oliver Twist syndrome.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody wants some
more. I was
more.
going to say that. Yeah, everybody, as human beings, actually, yes. That's a natural human tendency to always want more. Okay. But I don't think anybody can legitimately accuse the government of Borno State for not living up to its responsibility. I would say responsibility in courts because, first of all these services that he mentioned, I pay tribute to them. They have done a lot to the people of Borno. We appreciate them. We continue to support them. We salute their courage and patriotism. But none of them can legitimately accuse the government of Borno State of not supporting them. You know, even though, constitutionally speaking, it's not even the responsibility of the Borno State government. Okay.
And then
resources these are federal agencies.
Limitless.
Yes, and our resources are not limitless. But because we realize that at the end of the day, what they are doing or they are not doing will have a direct impact on the lives of our people. We have decided to take over a lot of federal responsibility, especially in the Jonathan days. Okay. You know, we took virtually, we were the ones who were supporting, we were buying military, we were buying combat equipment for the military. We were supplying them uniforms, we were supplying them, accommodation, both office.
In the Jonathan days?
Yes, in the housing accommodation. And there was no single month that we did not spend about $500 million naira supporting the military and the other agencies. Okay. We bought them armored vehicles and so on and so forth.
Wow, you virtually took over.
Yeah, we were buying fuel for them. You know, we got some reprieve when the government of President Muhammad Buhari came in. Okay. We haven't been spending as much. Okay. So I think, but we will continue to do our best. And let me tell you that, yes. Okay. For instance, quickly, the fire service, the federal fire service, which he's talking about, because my ministry, we have the mandate for the fire service. We are working with the federal fire service as best as we could. Okay, as the Honorable Commissioner for Home Affairs. Yes, that's right.
Mazi Okorafo in Arochukwu, good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, Honorable Commissioner Bulama.
Good morning, sir.
Morning, Commissioner. Yeah, Commissioner, I want to find out from you. You see, this issue of guerrilla warfare, you have just raised on this issue, guerrilla warfare. You saw what happened yesterday in Chad, between Chad and Libya. Within some seconds, the French troops arrived there and cleared the insurgents in that. So what I'm trying to find out from you now, the problem has already been created, but we thank God that you are alive and other people also are alive. Is it not possible for the people in Maiduguri to see how they can block these chances of the insurgents recruiting more youths into their camp? Because you see, the more they recruit more, you see the whole thing continue elongating. Because it is very, very disheartening what is happening. May God help us so that by the grace of God, before we talk about this, all those things will be a Passover. Thank you very much. I have a blessed day.
Thank you, Mazi. Thank you, Mazi.
Thank you very much, my brother. I think I really appreciate your very good thoughts for the people of Borno. This issue has, in fact, been the bottom line. Everything about Boko Haram has gone the way it had because they've been able to, over the years, recruit people, young men, vulnerable young men, impressionable young men, and even women into this movement. That is the first mistake we made. We allowed them to do that. You know, they were able to buy into the hearts and minds of very many young people. And you know, it's not always easy to reverse this trend, de-radicalization, and so on and so forth. But I want to assure you that we are on top of the situation. I know this phrase "on top of the situation" has been so overused in this country, you know. But I want to assure you that we are doing the very best we can, both in terms of the field work the soldiers are doing in the field, as well as the many de-radicalization programs, you know, de-radicalization and counter-radicalization programs. We are trying to shield those who have not been exposed to this ideology already, the millions of youth, by creating job opportunities for them, by giving them education, by making sure that we also buy and win their hearts and minds. We are doing a lot of programs for that. And I want to assure you, Mazi, that we will continue to do that, even after the end of this phase of conflict. When it finishes, we are preparing assiduously for that. And thanks to the support we receive from both the federal government and our development partners.
Yakub, good morning in Dokwemo.
Good morning, Secretary.
Thank you for calling in.
And good morning to your guys, Mr. Bulama.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Secretary, now that we hear from the source, period to 2015, 2014, 2015, Honorable Commissioner in Studio made us to know that Boko Haram control almost 17 local governments in Borno State. But when you read on social media sometimes, you'll be hear that nothing happened in Borno State. The insurgency is holding all the local government and all that. Now, Mr. Bulama is in studio telling us that period to that time is 17 local governments in hand of Boko Haram, but now it's more or less 2 or 3 local governments. That tells us that a lot of progress has been made. But having said that, Chiviori, by the time Super Tucano that Mr. President paid for come to Nigeria by ending of this year or 2020, I think that Super Tucano that Mr. President paid for will help us a lot to defeat these people.
Okay.
But the question I had for your guests in the studio is this: is it JTF, civilian JTF? I would like station whereby the Borno State government recognize them so much because they pay supreme price. Because without those guys that volunteer to defend their state and then to defend the country as a whole, it is a plus for them. Some of them have been killed by this Boko Haram. What the government of the Borno State have for their family? Because I heard that without their help, the military may not be able to achieve so much because they know the known account of that state, so that they can be able to. They are helping the military in that state very much. So what the governor of that state has for them, because I know that they help them so much. Thank you and God bless you.
All right then. Thank you very much, Yakub. What you've done is that that long question of yours, no problem. You took us right up to the break juncture. So we'll take a break, and when we come back, Dr. Bulama Mohammed will answer the question. Dr. Mohammed Bulama, he's the Honorable Commissioner for Home Affairs, Information and Culture in Borno State. And just before we went on break, Yakub had called in, and his question is what is being done, or he wants more done for the civilian JTF. To which, when we were away during break, I had asked Dr. Bulama, did government set up civilian JTF? And you had explained to me that not actually.
Yes, not actually.
How did the civilian JTF
Yes, the civilian JTF came up spontaneously.
Okay.
One particular day in, I think, May 2013, you know, the youth of Maiduguri just decided that enough was just enough. Because Maiduguri at that time was totally under siege. You know, and people were receiving it from both ends, from Boko Haram, and unfortunately, I have to say that from the military at that time.
Okay.
You know, our people were being killed left, right, and center. You know, we were at the receiving end. You know, we got caught up. So this day, a group of Boko Haram militants went to, I think, Hausari Ward or so in Maiduguri Metropolitan and attacked a community and killed 1 or 2 people. And the youths just reacted spontaneously. And then from that day, the youth of Maiduguri rose up in unison and drove Boko Haram totally out of Maiduguri.
The youths?
The youths, yes. Young people.
Seemingly uncoordinated.
Uncoordinated.
Spontaneously.
Totally, it was just spontaneous. You know? So we'll continue to be grateful to these young men and even women for that heroic act. And ever since that time, Maiduguri was, the grip of Boko Haram on Maiduguri
was loosened.
Was loosened, totally. And in most part of Borno, as a matter of fact. That is why, in fact, they left Maiduguri and went to the countryside and started taking on local government. And then now the government intervened, stepped in, and formalized the structure of the civilian JTF. Okay. You know?
Okay.
We call them officially BOYES. I think Borno Youth Empowerment Scheme. Borno Youth Empowerment Scheme.
Okay.
You know, as we speak now, we have 27,000 young men and women who have been organized by Borno State. We pay them salaries, we pay all their logistic needs, we buy vehicles for them, we support them. Yuri, I'm not at all being, it doesn't give me any pride in saying that. What I'm trying to emphasize is that we are grateful to these youth. Whatever we do for them, they more than deserve it. We are not even doing enough. But I want to assure you that we have done absolutely all the things we possibly could to give them support. Just last week, the Borno State government also enlisted the services of 5,000 local hunters. You know, it was all over the news.
Yes.
Yes. And these ones, we are going to pay them and give them all the logistic support they need to support the...
And for training, just to be sure that nobody goes overboard, you know, because there will be power, given what they're doing. That area is covered.
Largely they've been disciplined.
They're disciplined.
They've been disciplined. They've done their work according to the rules of engagement.
Okay.
So much so that many of them have now been enlisted into the Nigerian Army, Nigerian Armed Forces, and other
military
security agencies.
Security agencies.
Yes, they are that disciplined. We gave them that level of training and equipment, you know. So it's fantastic what these youths are doing, and we cannot be more grateful to them.
Or even supportive, which
yes,
you are confirming.
Exactly, we're supporting them, we're doing everything
yes,
possible.
Reverend Dominic, thank you for holding on. Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Yuri.
Good morning, Reverend.
Okay, let's quickly, but next week is not good. I want to ask 2 questions for your guest.
Yes.
Good morning, Honorable Commissioner.
Good morning, sir.
My question for you is, if you say that you cannot access 2 or 3 local governments in Borno, who is in this local government? Is it Nigerian Army or the Boko Haram? Number 1. Now, if you have the picture of painting, which does not agree with most of us, you know, it's what is true. Why is the governor shedding tears in Afro the other day? I have a question. Who is in charge of this local government? Why is the governor shedding tears in these later days about the situation of the stability in Borno State? This is the question I want you to answer to Nigeria. In democracy, you inform people. In military era, you do propaganda. I pray you will focus as the Minister of Commission of Information this morning. Who is in charge of this local government? Why the governor is crying? Thank you.
Well, thank you, Reverend Dominic.
I heard his questions clearly.
Oh, okay.
Yes, and I'm very happy he reminded. As a matter of fact, he has helped me by asking this question. You know, yes. When I said 2 or 3 local government areas in Borno State are not that accessible, I don't mean that Boko Haram is in control. The military is firmly there. As a matter of fact, the attack on Ran the other day, immediately after the attack, the whole top echelon of the theater command of Operation Lafia Dole, you know, led by the theater commander himself, visited Kalabalgate the very next day. If it was under Boko Haram control, it would not be possible. They were there to assess the situation, and they have even reinforced their presence, along with support from the Cameroonian armed forces. Ditto for Abadam local government, ditto for Marte. We also have the militaries in farm control. And it is only because they are carrying out military operations in this local government that they have access to tarry a while before we bring back our people to the local government. As we speak now, reconstruction work is going on in all these local government areas.
Okay.
Yes.
Because you did make the point that Boko Haram is not in control of
At all.
any, not even one.
Not even one.
Not even one.
Not even
local
one.
government.
But I'm not saying that there is no Boko Haram presence, but they are not in control of any one local government. Okay. As for His Excellency,
the democratic aspect.
Yeah, showing his emotions when he visited the president. Governor Kashim Shettima is a very emotional person. So just because he broke down in the presence of the president doesn't mean that Boko Haram is winning anything. First, it shows his empathy for his people. He's a man who has lived with his people for these 8 years. He has shown courage, he has shown determination, he has shown perseverance, he has shown his love for his people. And we as the elites of Borno sat and brainstormed, and we said, we needed to go and thank the government of President Muhammadu Buhari for doing what they have done for us in the last 4 years, but that
we
still have challenges.
Was a lot different from the previous administration.
Which are done. But that we have a lot of challenges that need to be still addressed.
Okay.
So we went to the president. Yeah, it was in the course of doing that the governor just showed his emotions. So it's actually...
Super in VI, thank you for holding on. Good morning.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and to my dear brother, the Commissioner of Borno State. I want to feel so sorry for the situation which they are all going in there, especially the governor. The governor has had hard time from his day one in the office, and I will advise that after the election in 2019, he should go for at least 1 year vacation abroad. My question remains, Uncle Yori, is there no way they can just build a wall to shut the borders in the northern part? Because I understand there is a free flow of all these people from Niger, Cameroon, Chad. We don't know who is who. Let's try and build a wall.
Borrow a leaf from President Trump. Borrow a leaf from President Trump. Abi? Super.
Yes.
Borrow a leaf from President Trump.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because let's protect our border.
Okay.
Let's try and build a wall. Let's see who is coming in. Let's see who is coming in and who is going out. It's as simple as build a wall, because we don't know who is coming in and who is going out.
Let's
we have an ECOWAS treaty that, we're coming in free. But in a situation like this, we have to take a tough stance, build the damn wall. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Bulama, what do you think of that Trump-like idea?
That's super, right?
That's super in Victoria Island here.
Yes, thank you very much, super. I agree that drastic situations always require drastic responses and solutions. But I'm not exactly sure that building a wall will solve the problem. But let me also say, I agree with him, because this is something we need to take very seriously, the issue of border security. And we're taking it so much so that we hosted the Comptroller General of Immigration Conference in Maiduguri recently. And the theme of that conference was border security. And a lot of ideas were proposed, about how to protect the border. And for the first time, almost all the retired Controllers General of Immigration that are alive attended that conference. This is just to show you how serious it was treated. And I'm sure that the federal government has heard you, super.
Okay.
This is actually the federal government's responsibility. They've heard you. And personally, I'm no admirer of Trump, so I don't believe in that thing, But I think we need to do something drastic as quickly as possible to protect our borders. I agree with him. The borders are so porous that something needs to be done quickly.
Indeed. George in IKEJA. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori, and good morning to Dr. Bulama.
Good morning, sir.
Dr. Bulama, thank you for coming to talk to us. Uncle Yori, recently I watched a video on Borno State in the past 3 years, a 1-hour video. and I was surprised to see what I saw. The standard of schools that are in Borno State, and the standard of roads, the communities that Borno State governor rebuilt for towns that were, captured by Boko Haram before. Some of them, they came back to destroy them again. And I was wondering, if this is a state that is in a war, what about other states? There are some other states that are not even under any war, that are not as what I saw. They are not as good as what I saw in that video. So I want to commend the government of Borno, and they should not give up. The issue of Amnesty International, just don't worry about them. There are some unpatriotic Nigerians who have infiltrated that organization for political reasons. We know them. All those things that they say, we all know, every reasonable person knows that most of them are false. So don't worry about those ones at all.
All right.
There's something that Manzi said, Manzi Okoroapo, that I will implore the commissioner to please take seriously. This youth recruitment by Boko Haram, how to, win their hearts and minds back to the Nigerian state philosophy. It's very important. The new governor that is likely to come in, how is he able to continue from where this current one stopped? Are we likely to see, I'm afraid, is he likely to be able to pick it up from there and upgrade it?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. George.
Thank you, George, my brother. I think I cannot thank you enough for helping me do my job. If people think I'm a government propagandist, now we have heard from a Nigerian on the street who has seen things for himself. We've done tremendously well in Borno in terms of physical infrastructure. This government has done so much within this situation that we have found ourselves. We have built mega schools, we have built fantastic health facilities, we have built roads, we have built just, you name it, intra-city, intercity, everything that you can think of. We have empowered our youth, thanks to Governor Kashim Shettima. We have done a lot. And I want to assure you that the man coming in, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to take us right to the next level.
You did say before this, he's in charge of the R Ministry.
Yes, he was in charge of the R Ministry, and he has done a lot. He knows Borno very well. I have sat one-on-one with him. He has given me assurances. He has given me an idea into his vision for Borno. And I have no doubt in my mind that if he implements this vision, Borno is going to go right up to the next level. He will definitely consolidate on what Governor Kashim Shettima has done. And that is why our budget is called the budget of consolidation. We have done a lot in the last year, so we are going to do a lot more. So I want to assure you, my brother George, and Nigerians, that we have done a lot, and we are not going to let off the pace. We'll do even a lot more. And for de-radicalization and counter-radicalization that you raised, it's very, very important. And we are not going to relent on that. We'll do everything possible to make sure that our youths are, those of them that have strayed off, are right back on the right trajectory, so that we will continue to. And all these problems we have, especially the capacity of Boko Haram to recruit, was indirectly, or even the emergence of Boko Haram itself. It was a product of poor governance. Basically, it was a product of poor governance, poverty, and maybe lack of education may be there, but even those are products of poor governance. So at the end of the day, it's all about, so we have risen up to the occasion, and we are providing a serious improvement on the level of governance that was in Borno State before.
I have another question for you, but people out there want to ask questions, so I'm going to, Ayo, I think, has come in. Ayo, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Yori.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning to your guest.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Good morning.
Sure. Please go ahead.
I'm just a bit pained sometimes when I hear people call in and they start promoting sectionalism or propaganda. I don't think that should be the case when there's a human catastrophe. And Nigerians are fond of armchair criticism. You know, they sit in their chairs and they've not been anywhere. They pick off things they hear from the internet and begin to promote it, which is very wrong. It promotes division. I remember being in MAIDUGURI in Borno State sometime in 2008 or 2009, where there was that huge flood that sacked the whole Gwange community. You know, I'm a media consultant, a journalist. I went to film the catastrophe. And I remember the whole community was submerged in water. I had to take a canoe to go around the community. When I was coming back to the shore, there was a multitude of youth, close to about 500 to 1,000. They were waiting for me, machetes and all of that. And I was asking myself, how am I going to come out of this? So when I got to the church, along with my cameraman, we came down, they held us on stage and all that. I said, no, we're not here under any government. We are private journalists. We are here to show the world what you are facing. And I did put the camera there for them to talk, and they spoke. But I remember when I got back to Lagos, I was telling my then producer that, look, I can imagine what is going to happen in Borno State with this amount of people that are not doing it. And that was under then the government, I think was Borno Sheriff Modus. Hello?
Yes. We can hear you.
You know, at that time. And that was the PDP government. Now, I'm not saying it's the PDP government because I want to blame PDP and say APC is doing well. I'm just trying to say whoever is given a responsibility should be held accountable. He cannot, at that time, all the relief materials that were dropped at the government house did not get to the people. All the people who ended up at the Red Cross Center close to, I think, in Gwange at that point in time. So when somebody has a responsibility, they should be held accountable. No need to start sectionalizing or promoting propaganda to say this and that.
All right.
Crying out loud, the whole of Borno, 17 local governments are under the territory of Boko Haram. They've been pushed back, and you know we have nothing like that. They only be reduced to guerrilla warfare and all that. So if this government has done well in that area, we should say thank you and pat them in the back and encourage them and encourage our army people that are there in the battlefront, ensuring that we can enjoy our little liberties.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Ayo, for calling in and contributing that report. It's a form of a kind of a report.
Yes, exactly.
You know, of course, I said from the very, very beginning, we mentioned Borno, then you're going to have Boko Haram. But there's more to Borno than Boko Haram.
Certainly.
Just looking at your title, it's information,
home affairs, culture.
Yes, home affairs and culture. That culture part, I mean, you couldn't be farther away from war and strife than culture. Tell me about culture. How important do people, with all that we're talking about, do they still have time for culture so much so that a commissioner has responsibility for it?
Yes, even before you went to that second part of the question, I was readying myself to tell you that at a point, things were so bad that culture was the last thing, promoting culture was about the last thing on the minds of everybody, including me, the Commissioner of Information. Because I've been Commissioner of Information, I think, since 2014.
Okay.
And first overseeing, and then I took over, you know. So culture, you know, so I had to concentrate on other things, information, home affairs and all that. But we have now come to a stage where the situation has improved such that we have started to think about our culture. And Borno is historically, globally acclaimed, you know, as an entity with a very beautiful history and culture. We have a history of over 1,000 years, documented history of over 1,000 years. You know, everybody who read history, at least in Nigeria, I remember in those days, every Nigerian who went to school must have read something about Borno, Borno Empire or Borno Kingdom. Very beautiful. So we're now doing a lot to revive our culture. We're going to work on improving our museums.
Did the culture take a hit? Because
yes, it did. It did because, for instance, we have what we call the Rabe's Fort in Dikwa city. Rabe, anybody who is familiar with Borno's history, was an invader in the late 19th century. He came and did a lot of destruction like Boko Haram. So we have a museum dedicated to that in Dikwa and a lot of other places. And some other artifacts, historical artifacts across the state. Okay. You know, so all those took a hit, and the culture sector, tourism, culture, took a very serious hit. You know, in Borno, we have one of the national reserves, they call them, cultural.
Okay.
We have one in Borno.
You're not talking about a game reserve, not game.
Yeah, it's like a game reserve.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you know. We have a lot of other things that are historical and cultural that people will ordinarily want to come and see.
How about libraries? Because you're talking about documented history of over 1,000 years.
Yes.
And usually when marauders come, they want to wipe out libraries, destroy books, which are documenting.
Fortunately for us, the libraries were located in Maiduguri township itself. Of course, they did a lot of damage in Maiduguri itself, but they didn't remember to wreak that havoc on the library we have, owned by the state government and by the Borno Emirates, you know, the custodian of which is the Shehu of Borno.
Exactly.
So those ones were able to preserve them. And we have foundations like the Kanim Borno Historical and Cultural Foundation, who are also doing a lot of things. The University of Maiduguri, of course, is also their College of Education in Maiduguri. So for the documentation, I think we are largely fortunate. You know, it's the artifacts that took a hit, like I said, suffered and all that. But we are recovering from that.
Okay,
we are recovering from that, and hopefully by the time we get to the next level, our culture will even get promoted even a lot more than we are doing now.
Well, I want to thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed Bulama, for coming on this morning and, you know, giving us a better sense and also sharing the optimism in Borno. You were careful to explain that we are not saying Boko Haram doesn't exist, but it's way, 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 way better. Exactly. Not one single local government is under Boko Haram, and that's coming from 17.
Yes, that's very factual.
That they had.
Yes.
And on the occasion of, you know, signing into law the budget, this year's budget, 144.7, the governor was, first of all, commending the assembly for the speedy response, and also imploring them to extend the same measure of cooperation and understanding to the incoming governor, which we've spoken about. Mazi Okorafor brought that up. Can there be continuity? Hopefully, with all of this, the skies are bright. Yeah.
The relationship between the executive and legislative arms of government in Borno State have been fantastic for the past 4 years. Unfortunately for us, most of the members of the House of Assembly are actually coming back. And they already have a very, very good cordial relationship with the incoming governor, inshallah, Babagana Umar Zulum. Because the people of Borno are going to vote elect massively for APC. I can give you this assurance. So when we do, all of them will come back, or most of them, all of them, I'm sure those of them that have scaled through the primary. Some of them didn't make it.
But those of them that came through, is likely to continue.
Exactly. So we have no doubt about that.
Completely run out of time now, but I want to thank you once more. Thank you very much, Dr. Mohammed Bulama, Honorable Commissioner for Home Affairs, Information and Culture. That's our program today. Please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Bye-bye for now.